Well, I guess today kind of marks the end of preseason camp. I thought really pleased with how this week went. Very pleased with the live work we did this week. I was pleased with what our ones and twos did this morning in our last scrimmage. Now, chance for them to kind of catch their breath, unplug from football a little bit, get ready to start class on Monday, and then we're going to start game prep for NC State. And so, looking back, coming into preseason camp, it's been a really enjoyable preseason camp from the standpoint of having a mature team, an experienced team that functions the way you want them to, does the things that good football teams do in preparation. It was a very solid camp, and the best I've had since I've been here. So, questions?
You said you want to see significant improvement this morning with the second scrimmage. I'm sure you got to go back and look at the film, but just from watching it live, you feel like you kind of saw that? Yeah,
I do, and really, I felt it all week. Coming out of Wednesday's practice, which was had some live work in Wednesday's practice. Coming out of that practice, I felt like that we had really made strides Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off of the scrimmage last weekend. And our first group went about 25 plays today, and I thought outside of one play from the first offense, I thought our first offense executed at a very high level. I think our defense is flying around, so I think that we saw what we needed to from last week to this week.
Looking at Keaton Mitchell, what is it that has made him such an effective runner for you guys, and how excited are you to see what he does in his third year here?
Well, I think everybody recognizes his speed on game day, and it's pretty elite. But the things that people don't see is he has just such a great feel for the zone run game. He's done a great job with his body over the off season, putting on some muscle and allowing him to be a lot more sturdy this year than maybe he was last year. He's a very driven player also. So, I'm just excited to see, what's next for him. I think Rajay has made the same strides. So I think we had a fantastic, set of starters there last year with those two, and I anticipate them to be, that same thing for us this year, only I think that they're both improved.
Coach, camp is always a grind, but you said it's been more enjoyable. Has it been less of a grind this year because everybody seems to know what they're doing?
Well, the kids would say no. I can promise you. And that's part of, I felt that this week also. About Thursday and yesterday, you could tell that, it's been a grind. But the enjoyable piece comes from, it wasn't like you had to just demand them constantly on about their effort, or, you didn't have to just stay on them about, physicality. If you put the ball down in a competition setting, they're going to go hard and they're going to strike each other. They're going to play good football, and that's enjoyable because now you can coach the fundamentals, you can coach schemes, you can coach cohesiveness and get everybody on the same page, and you kind of pass the deal of having to push so hard to get effort out of them, because now you have a lot of older players that's what they know, that's what they believe in, that's what they do. And so the younger kids, it's either you step up along with them or you stick out in a negative fashion. So that's the enjoyable piece.
Obviously, a lot of transfers coming in. Camp, a great time to kind of catch them up to speed about how ECU football plays. What have you seen from them, and I guess how important are they to this upcoming season?
Well, I think the kids that we brought in have acclimated well. Isaiah and Jalen, in particular, in the receiving corps, have really meshed well with returning players. I thought Justin Redd looked really good today on the offensive front. You look at defensively, I thought Chandre had a good end of the week this week, did some good things today. So, all those guys are older, they're experienced. Pre-Washington, They're all guys that have played a lot. Chance Bates, and I think they fit in really, really well with our returning players, and they're going to see significant playing time on game day.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the punt game?
Well, I think Luke's had a solid preseason camp, so he's going to be our starting punter going into the season. We feel like we have solid guys, depth-wise on the unit across the board. It's a little bit of a battle still for the backup punt job between David Chapeau and I forgot his name all of a sudden. My little guy from High Point, Conrad, Andrew Conrad. That's awful. But those two are battling it out for the backup punter's job. So haven't really solidified that yet. But pleased with Luke.
Coach, I wanted to ask about conditioning. I know Big John's done a great job in the weight room. From the time you started to now, can you talk about the growth in the weight room with the players?
That's probably been the most significant growth in the program. I mean, a lot of you guys covered the program before, and when we got here, we didn't look like an American Athletic Conference team. But you saw the kids on the field today. I mean, we look like we belong in the American Athletic Conference. Our fronts on both sides of the football, we're big, we're athletic, we're strong. You look at the stand-up guys, both sides of the ball. We look the part. Coach Williams, I think he's the best there is. The kids think he's the best there is, and he's done a great job with his staff in developing our roster.
Your first game here was against NC State. Are you hoping to look at this game, this season opener, as kind of a measurement of how far the program has come in that time?
Well, we were non-competitive in that game. It was embarrassing, honestly. The program there's no comparison at all. Now that being said, their program has made drastic improvement also. I think they won 3 or 4 games that year. Coming in, this is the highest ranked NC State team preseason in school history. So you have arguably one of the best teams NC State has ever fielded coming to Dowdy-Ficklin September 3rd. So what you have, here in the opener is, 2 much improved programs, 2 much improved teams. It's going to be a good ball game. We're going to find out a lot about ourselves, but it's night and day over what that game in 2019 was.
With guys returning, just knowing the ins and outs of the playbook for so many years, how have the newer players done their studying and kind of grasp the playbook that you guys are trying to do?
Well, that's if you're talking about newer players as far as those older transfers that have come in, that's the big thing. That was the big focus this summer. That's the big focus during preseason camp. Like I said, though, all those guys are 4th and 5th year college football players. So it's not like they had not played in similar schemes where they were. So I think they've acclimated well. The ones that are struggling to acclimate, as always, are the freshmen. I do think we have a couple of freshmen that may see significant time this year. And that's the biggest thing that's going to hold them up. Just grasping the playbook, acclimating to the speed on game day, acclimating to the physicality, because it's a lot different, in the high school football field compared to what's going to be out there September 3rd.
Coach, going back to that NC State matchup, how do you motivate your kids, knowing that you have such a tall chest, going up against one of the highest ranked teams in the country, especially when you're trying to build this program's confidence? You're trying to get them knowing that they are going to be one of the top teams in the American Conference once teams like UCF leave the conference.
Well, I think motivation is not going to be an issue for that opener. It's the opening game. You don't need motivation for the opening game. It's an hour and 15 minutes between campuses. There's a lot of history between us and NC State. The guys that were on that field in 2019, and there's some that were on the field in 2018, they don't need any extra motivation. It'll be a very motivated roster that takes the field that day. I think playing in the American Conference does give our kids confidence. We went toe-to-toe with the top teams in the conference last year. Probably should have had a couple of wins there. that we didn't get at the end of a couple of ball games, but our guys, they're confident playing anybody, to be honest with you.
What was the back and forth like between offense and defense during camp, and coming out of it, is there one side that's ahead of the other as you wrap up these scrimmages?
Like I said, when you put the ball down in a competitive setting, they go at each other. It was highly competitive. We had a few scuffles, which you're going to have that during camp, especially early on. You had to run them a little bit and just tell them, listen, you can fight or you can run. You decide. But I like that intensity. I like that competitive spirit that they have in them. I thought early on, and last week's scrimmage, I thought the defense was a little bit ahead of the offense, but I think the offense had a very good week this week. We saw the potential that we had thought we had throughout the week this week, and again this morning from our offensive players.
Coach, was there a position group this preseason camp that you were surprised by, or any players that surprised you and kind of just stood out performance-wise?
Well, I think I'm pleased across the board. I wouldn't say surprised, but I'm happy with how well our receivers have meshed with our quarterbacks and with the rest of our offenses as we went through camp. Because that was, you thought what you had on paper, but still getting on the same page and seeing them do it together, that was something that we hadn't seen yet, but I'm pleased standing here today.
You have time for one more question? Anybody? Coach, thank you.
Yeah. I think 7 games last year, 7 points or fewer were decided. I guess I'm just kind of curious if you learned anything about those experiences that you can kind of translate into coming into this year.
Well, I think everybody did. I think there's no substitute for experience. I think that's kind of probably what held us back a little bit early in the season, is learning how to win those close games. Late in the season, winning those close games, it was all the difference in our season. Winning on the road at Memphis, winning on the road at Navy. Those kind of games are the ones that are difference between a disappointing season and a bowl bid. So I think our whole roster learned a lot last season, from those victories. Thanks a lot. Go Pirates.
Everybody stand up, get your hands up, let our team know that we got they back. This is our house, this is our town, our time, Rebel 19, copy that. Everybody in the stands go bananas, scream loud, but they don't hold back. Every foot, every yard, every first down, every touchdown with the cannons blast. Get it on, get it all, get the wave going.